Welcome back, everybody, to week number 5 of Stage 2 of the Quake Pro League, where we have one more series left to go. Dahang versus psygib. My name's Ketchup, joined on the desk by Flea. This is the final one of the day, and I think one of the most interesting for sure.
Absolutely. psygib and dahang, they both have very different play style. Even though they're both really heavy hitters, I would say psygib is just like the kind of get-in-your-face guy to just use the heavy artillery whenever he can. And as we mentioned before as well, it actually has worked at QuakeCon, where it was psygib to beat dahang, a result that very few people were expecting. But right now, dahang has again dominantly manifested himself as the absolute top 2 of NA. So it's going to be interesting to see if psygib can actually change things up a bit.
So let's have a look at dahang, a player that everyone's familiar with at this point. One of the gods of 2v2 back in the day, and an exceptionally talented dueler in his own right. Has won a duel championship in his Quake Champions career, thanks to DreamHack Winter. And, you know, even if that was round-based duel back in the day, the talent and just the method hasn't really changed for him. You know, he has the same level of skills, the same level of results against different players, and it's always between dahang and Rafa. They are the undisputed top 2 of the Americas, and dahang is insanely skilled because he just is not afraid to innovate.
No.
You know, I've always said that he's an innovator, and he continues to be to this day.
I mean, he introduced essentially Strog, right, to the duel scene and 2v2 scene, and he showed the world that Clutch was extremely viable. That was in the tournament that he won, that DreamHack Winter 2017. Out of nowhere, nobody was ready for the robot, and he just took the stage by storm.
Absolutely, but we've got to look at his opponent, psygib, who we mentioned earlier today, similar to a Nosfer actually, but psygib was kind of the opposite effect, where he had an extremely slow start in Stage 1, and then at a specific point, just turned that dial up to 11, and he started to, in many ways, just become the psygib we're all familiar with, and his results have been highly impressive since that point. Where I would say right now, I think psygib is in the best shape to beat dahang since QuakeCon that he's ever been in Quake Pro League. You know, if there's one time to fight dahang, that time is now.
I mean, so far, they both lost, or they both made it to the quarterfinals back in the Stage 1 finals in Italy, so that's already quite impressive. In the last few weeks, I think that dahang has won every single Stage 2 match he's played so far, often very convincingly too. psygib has had it a little bit more difficult because he actually lost to Dewey and Chain. So that's a bit of a surprising result for a player that has been very often in the top 3, 4, 5 of NA. Still struggling a bit going up against a few of these players, especially Dewey, if I remember correctly, was a 3-0 loss. So that had to hurt a little bit. So it's going to be very interesting to see what psygib can bring to the table today.
We should have the picks and bans very, very soon. The final one of the day to see what we're all going to be looking at, really. It's the champions play a huge part when you watch dahang because he's just so insanely efficient with playing a champion as a specific champion. You know, the whole idea of Quake Champions introducing the champions to the whole system, it just created a new layer to the meta, where you've got the base Quake, and then you've got all the changes that the champions bring to the table.
Right.
dahang is, I think, he was one of the first players out there that really said, okay, well, let's treat this as a brand new game, and it's shaped around it, so let's just see what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And he kind of played Quake Champions a little bit earlier than everyone else, if that makes sense. Similar to a Razy,
I get what you mean.
In that effect.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's really, really talented with those, but like, kind of trump card champions. Like, his Ranger is really, really strong. The odd picks are always great for him too. But Veil of Nath up first. The Ranger versus Ison. Corrupted Keep up next with BJ versus Anarchy. And then the final map, Awoken. We get to see dahang with the Nyx, a champion he's been using quite a lot recently. And then the Doom Slayer. That's
I feel like something's a little bit odd.
One of them is not like the other.
There we go.
Now, the Strog and Pika was banned away. That makes a lot more sense. And the Athena as well. And the Doom Slayer.
Interesting to see that dahang would ban Athena. She's a really, really powerful champion on Awoken. I've gotten to experience this myself back when I was playing some ranked duels. She is a pain to go up against. So much mobility, she can get anywhere basically instantly. So perhaps dahang knows something that we don't, because psygib is not the kind of person that I would immediately consider to play Athena that often. It's not like a signature champion of him.
If memory serves me correctly, we have seen him pull the champion out on maps like Blood Covenant before.
Yeah.
And we know the players in the Americas, they do scrim against each other quite regularly. There's always the potential that dahang has scrimmed against psygib online, and maybe psygib has used Athena on this map and has given dahang trouble. It does seem oddly specific.
Yeah.
And your first thought would be perhaps this is kind of like a respect ban by just how the online record has gone in the past. But we are starting off with Veil of Nath. Sorlag was removed from play. We have the Ranger, a nice tried and true champion pick. Corrupted Keep. You know, we just saw the Anarchy from Razy clean house. Interested to see what psygib's Anarchy looks like in comparison.
Yeah, and this is just going to be a very interesting matchup. You've got the Ranger on Veil, so much mobility. I think Veil is one of the most vertical maps in the entire game. It's not that big, but it's got a whole lot of layers. So when using that orb, you can very quickly traverse those from the bottom to the top. But he's going up against the Aizen, and of course, Aizen can be used for area denial, can be used to block the teleporters, and that's something that I think dahang is definitely going to be interested in doing. But psygib is giving him no room to breathe, just instant aggression. Doesn't have a rocket zone. That's going to make it a bit difficult. Out comes the orb, and that's going to net him the very first frag of the game.
Fresh off the spawn when your dire orb's ready to go. Had to spend a little bit of time to detour against the turret though, which definitely distracted him as dahang's going to come around that corner and clean up. But yeah, I was going to say fresh off the spawn with the dire orb and an LG on a map like this, it was definitely what psygib must have considered like enough utility to start with.
Yeah.
And he'd really lay that pressure on and give him no room to run around. But dahang now obviously observing him at this point in time. And an explosive way to start this map. That turret's going to dish out a respectable amount of damage, and the tri-bolt to boot. Is it going to be enough? dahang dangerously low, no armor in hand. Both players weak. Ooh. Almost caught him there.
Yeah, I think neither of them willing to engage after taking so much damage. dahang will be taking the Mega and a small armor. Heavy will probably be going to psygib, but that's still going to be risky. Gets out just in time, but has actually very little health to work with. So far, neither player really establishing control. They each have one item to their name, but dahang, those rails, that's gonna help him out a lot, because psygib definitely weaker when it comes to stack right now, and dahang wants to take advantage of that. There come the snowballs flying around his face, not doing a whole lot of damage. Dropping the turret down, I think he meant to throw it on the heavy platform, but that's a lot of damage exchange. psygib absolutely coming out on top of that one. Doesn't look like he's interested in pressing the advantage though. Oh, I spoke too soon. He's gonna try and catch dahang. He's got the top.
Full speed ahead, and psygib's going to pick up what he's looking for. Quite weak though, and that's something to worry about. dahang fresh off the spawn with a nice fresh stack.
As you say, quite weak. He jumps into the toxic acid twice.
I did get nervous watching that.
Yeah, I think we all do.
The poor little feats. Heavy was going to spawn first. psygib taking it, forcing dahang into the point of no return. But he's actually able to dish out some damage himself. Might, in fact, be able to secure this frag. The grated floor is actually a bit troublesome for him. Teleports into the turret, but not before taking a bunch of damage. We all saw that rocket from a mile away, but it's not enough to finally finish the job.
There we
Reactionary super shotgun. psygib was ready for that one.
How did he even survive that long? It felt like that should have been over so quickly.
It has to be the holes in that floor. It was just causing a lot of problems for psygib. It was just trying to get the final shot. dahang able to survive. He eats a bunch of nails though in the mid-air to finish the job. 2 rockets in a row, and he's timing the Mega at the same time. Looking real good for psygib right now. 4 frags to 1, and now we can see.
I feel like psygib is enchanted by the snow and ice effect, just shooting at the floor so he can admire the beautiful particle effects a little bit more. But here we go, he's instantly going to bridge the gap. dahang trying to land some damage with the railgun. Unsuccessfully, psygib off to an extremely good start.
100%. And dahang kind of struggling to find some footing at the moment. Now, he's fresh off the spawn, but hang on a minute! Misses the shot, and dahang punishes him just in time. for the Mega to spawn, and now he collects it. And he's healthy too. The turret's going to give him some all-important information. Where is psygib run off to? We need to get some armor first. That is the objective. Looks like he's moving towards heavy. That missed 2 missed rails with the stack that dahang wasn't really looking at. I think those rails were so important to land. It's such a shame he couldn't, because it's giving dahang an opening to come back. And that opening has reared its ugly head. The turret appears, and it's going to be a little bit of an obstacle first. Looks like it's been swiftly dealt with. psygib has a bigger stack, and let's not forget, he does have the frag lead at the same time.
At least the Mega went towards him though, so that was a useful outcome of that engagement. And right now psygib still a 2 frag lead, and actually a stack lead as well. dahang getting the heavy though, and that's gonna help him out a little bit, because of course with his passive that makes it so that his ability, the turret, regenerates a bit faster, so extremely useful when you're playing Ison. psygib kind of taking him by surprise, and a beautiful rail on the down low too, expanding his lead to 3 frags.
And we haven't even hit the 5-minute warning yet. A lot's happened in this short space of time, but psygib, he's looking to spring a trap, and he's successful. dahang doesn't look like he was ready for it, and psygib, the perfect trap.
If there's any place you never want to be in Quake, it's just like caught by an LG that kills your momentum, because you will just come grinding to a standstill, and your opponent will hit 100%. And I feel like that's pretty close to what psygib's hitting with the rail right now, right? Close to 100%. He's just not missing these shots. Ison not even that easy of a target to hit, but look at the LG. Once again, dahang will fall.
It's only going to become increasingly harder for dahang as well, as he's trying to make something happen, but he too is now reaching that kind of dangerous point where he's 7 frags down, and there's less than 5 minutes left to go. He's going to have to start trying to force the issue soon. Now, he's able to score 1 frag here. It is perfectly timed now the Mega has spawned, so he can stop the bleeding just a little bit. And he has got a favourable spawn there for psygib. Now, the rail has to watch out for that one, especially with no armor, but the point is that he can make chase. He can try and put some of the pressure on. But at this stage, psygib now going to try and slow things down. He's not going to make it easy for dahang to get these angles on him.
Deciding against jumping through that outside teleporter, he was looking at it, he was eyeing it up, but I think he realized that psygib was probably expecting that and could have done a lot of damage if he came falling from the skies above. So dahang slow playing a little bit. He still has time to work with. 4 minutes, that'll do. But still, 6 frags. Luckily for him, it's a relatively small map. There's a lot of opportunity to start steamrolling your opponent once you do get a few good frags and can deny some major items. So dahang doesn't have to worry just yet. But still, the pressure's building.
But now dahang struggling to find psygib. You can see the automatic change of strategy. He's been able to find him. How long is this fight going to take? And the question is, can he even win it? He has the stack advantage, but he sees the orb. He has to respect it. He has to now try and look for an alternative route. The Mega should be his, but no challenge on the Mega. That's got to confirm that psygib is simply letting him take it. Ooh, good shot.
Nice.
2 good shots in a row.
Too. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get that first rocket jump up, because I feel like that would have been almost a guaranteed frag for him. But right now, dahang, he just doesn't have the time to slowly play the item game anymore. He has to start building those frags. Oh, that rocket didn't do any damage whatsoever. He's got to push in though, and that's exactly what he'll do. 4 frags behind. He's leaving up the Mega, just looking for the damage. dahang, he realizes he's running out of time. He's got to step up, and he's got to do it right now.
It's the pressure that's being applied here. psygib completely content to concede these items. He knows that dahang is after him, and if he sits around with one of these items and gets caught off guard, that's the #1 way you can get fragged. Goes in for the orb. It's not going to hit its mark. There's a click, no problem. Then we just take yours. You don't need it anymore.
But on the other hand, though, dahang, even though he doesn't really need it, he has to continue picking up the major items, because if he, say, doesn't pick up a Mega or a heavy, and his opponent just walks along, that's disastrous. Because that will arm your opponent with so much stack, you can't have that in this stage of the game. So dahang is essentially forced to pick up these items over and over again, even though it is costing him time. There we go, he's gonna hear his opponent below him. Dropping down behind him, but that's gonna be hurt. Nope.
Oh, no!
Misses the shot!
A very uncharacteristic miss from dahang. That is not a rail he usually misses his mark on. He'd have to drop down the turret for a little bit of support, just in case the fight broke out, I would imagine, but psygib is just running from dahang at this stage, and it's been working perfectly. Dahang is reaching that scary point. Hits the mid-air. Okay, 2 more frags in 60 seconds. This is definitely possible, but he has to get some good spawns.
There we go. That's a pretty good one to start with. Can he rocket jump up, try and chase his opponent down? Exactly what he will do. psygib tries to evade him, running to the other side of the map, and he misses! No. Oh, dahang!
Cannot afford to miss these shots.
Rails. That cannot happen at this stage of the game. And right now, dahang is going to pick up the Mega, and psygib, he can just play the runaway game, doesn't have his ability, doesn't have the orb.
If he gets a frag right now, there is a chance. psygib, he's run up top. He's looking to run away, goes towards the heavy, another missed rail, combined with the fact that psygib just collected the heavy. It's going to spell bad news. It's because he's just picked up all this stuff, he's able to run away. He needs to get a frag now, otherwise there's no time left. Makes chase, and he teleports to it. Can he get it? Looks for the shot. Can he land the shot? He's on 1 HP though.
Mega is up. If he can pick up the health right here and now just find psygib. And psygib's actually down there below him. He's gonna get sight of him. Rocket will not do any damage whatsoever. The rail connects, but it's too little, too late. And psygib taking map 1.
That was a great result for him, and it almost didn't. It was just purely just how dahang. He made chase at the last possible second, and when he finally found him, he just needed a couple more seconds to be done with it, but wasn't meant to be. psygib had just done far too much work prior to it, and that was a great performance too. Absolutely fantastic way to start the series.
Are we going to see a repeat of QuakeCon? Could this be psygib once again taking down what's unanimously accepted to be the 2nd best player in all of the Americas?
It would be quite fitting, for sure, of psygib, because he's quite a confident player. You know, he's very confident in his own ability. And when he defeated dahang at QuakeCon, he wasn't. I'm not saying he was crazy vocal about it, but he wasn't afraid to let people know that that's what he was able to achieve there.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, yeah, I managed to beat dahang. And you heard that kind of ushered quite a lot from him, because it was clearly an accomplishment he was extremely proud of. And by all means, he should be proud of that.
Absolutely.
If he has the opportunity to do it twice, then, oh my word.
Yeah, this is the make it or break it for dahang right now. He's got to win 2 maps in a row in order to keep his winning streak in Stage 2 going. But psygib, of course, is going to do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. That orb was so important, this map. psygib, just excellent traps, but he used that orb so aggressively and effectively time and time again, and dahang just a little bit disoriented often when the orb comes in. You have to reconsider your position, where your opponent is. You don't even know what kind of weapon he has out at that range, and that can throw off even the best of players. Excellent rails though, dahang, of course. Insane combat skills. Unfortunately for him, psygib just outdid him a tiny bit.
It's 2 players that during the 2v2 days were quite star performers.
Yeah.
psygib was another one, where if he was on a team, you'd expect him to do well, and he often would. And the combat skill, I would always actually compare both these players' combat skills quite similarly to each other. It's something you can always guarantee they'll be excellent at. And yeah, this was that final moment where, you know, he had no choice but to try and make it happen, but psygib was just positioned way too perfectly. He had the angle already. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, just to pick on what you just said, like Rafa and dahang, people often look at Rafa a bit more as essentially the team captain, the one who strategizes, who comes up with the calls and the shots. But dahang was the one who, more often than not, just dished out the extreme amount of damage that Team Liquid needs to just get that one up on their opponent. So absolutely a capable player, insane combat skills, and just very well rounded. You used the term earlier, tech, and that's something that dahang is extremely good at.
It's a matter of adaptation too, which is why even though we saw an impressive map number 1 from psygib, we can't count out dahang in any capacity.
No.
Because how many times has dahang been down, no matter the game mode, and he's simply been able to just digest what was going on, and whatever adaptations he decides to make or manages to make around, it's enough to get the win.
Yeah.
You know, he's no stranger to losing map number 1 and then winning the entire series. We still have 2 more maps left to go. So we'll see what happens next time.
Yeah, absolutely. The Hang, a player with incredible mental resilience and endurance. He can go a best of 5 easily to the final map. So there's absolutely no cause for panic just yet. Just needs to get his head back into the game and keep playing the same way he has been.
It just feels like psygib was kind of playing dahang a couple of times there, you know, where he was just sitting at an angle or he was hiding around a corner or something, and dahang was kind of just falling for quite a few of them. It happened a lot more earlier on.
Yeah.
You know, dahang started to, dare I say, wake up a little bit throughout the rest of the map, but that early period was enough to give psygib a notable foot in the door. But now, BJ versus Anakin. Wow, instantly going in with the 100, dahang popping the dual wield, but the second that 100 hit, he was basically as good as dead.
Yeah, so little you can do at that point when you open the fight with that amount of damage taken. Nothing you can really do about it. And psygib, very strong start, once again getting some of the small armors as well. Very little delay between the two major items. Dahang obviously slowing things down a little bit. He's got the heavy to his name, but what he's missing is weapons. And psygib right now perfectly positioned in the center of the map to try and deny at least one of the two. It looks like LG will be taken by Dahang. Out comes the dual wield, but is it effective? Nope. psygib, the better positioning. Dahang shooting downwards, can't quite maneuver as freely as he could.
And he's doing so much.
Cost him.
He's doing so much damage with the initial entry before Dahang pops the dual wield that the dual wield is not used to melt down the stack. It's being used to try and catch up the damage. And wow, speaking of damage,
yep,
that super shotgun certainly didn't tickle right there.
Dahang now finally getting himself a little bit of a decent pace going. He's got the weapons that he needs, the LG and the rockets finally, and now psygib is the one in a bad position, but what? The damage, obscenely powerful. But Dahang drops down and survives with just 5 points of health. A tickle of LG, the tiniest amount of lightning gun damage you could possibly do in the game, would have been enough to finish him off. But alas, for psygib, it's not happening that way just yet.
Dual wield is popped again. Try and do as much damage as we can. Dual wield the super shotgun for bonus damage, and again Dahang 3-2.
I feel like that's something we're gonna see quite often. Shotgun is like one of the weaknesses that Anarchy has. It just hits him so much. So especially when you can whip out the dual shotgun, what can the man on the hoverboard do against that? He's gonna incur so much damage, and Dahang, very cautious play, just listening out, hearing his opponent move away, and that gives him the cue, the knowledge that he needs to go for the small bubbles first, safely.
Dahang has got a very explosive style, but the patience is what kind of enables it in the first place. The dual wield, you ask and he shall receive. That super shotgun is going to be a nightmare for Anarchy, especially seeing as BJ can pull out 2 of them. So far, psygib just walking into the eyes of death on more than one occasion at the moment.
Yeah, and that was a very smart dual wield too, because he definitely could have lost that fight. psygib landed the first shotgun a moment before he did, so it's very likely that if psygib had gotten off another shot before Dahang, that would have been the end. But by whipping out that second gun, he essentially allowed himself to shoot just a tiny bit earlier than his opponent, and that's what made all the difference in that fight.
He's going in for the attack towards, get some of the SSG damage. Looking for the final shot, and psygib is faster. On the other side, Dahang was looking to react. psygib was already almost like preemptive and ready to go before he even went through. Dahang with the refrag. Fortunate spawn near the nail gun room, actually. So he's able to just quickly correct that wrong. And a sizable lead exists for him already. Ooh.
That just melts light champions so badly. psygib, he is in trouble. 4 minutes into the game when he's already 5 frags behind. And he just keeps trying the same thing over and over again, but then whenever he does get a frag by playing an aggressive, unexpected move like that, Dahang just comes right back in and refrags him. Fortunately for Dahang, missing some shots right there. Are we gonna see the same thing again, or can he actually stack up this time? Okay.
Well, the dual wield was popped before, so there is at least that element that psygib is not going to have to deal with it for quite some time. Not that it really matters, because Dahang just runs straight for it. It almost looks like psygib wasn't fully expecting him to run down the cycle.
Not at all. Not at all. He wasn't ready for that one bit. Dahang waiting to get up to that next threshold of health. Of course, the BJ passive heals him up slightly. And that's all it took for him to get out of the room safely.
psygib opting to retreat. I know it's going to be tempting to try and get a frag no matter what the situation is, especially when he's this far down, but psygib opting to try and restack instead. And now he's looking for a fight.
And that's the smart decision. He still has more than half the map left. Nothing is over, nothing is lost. But if he keeps just giving up the frags, then it will be quickly too. There we go, the preemptive dual wheel, double LG comes out. psygib, he's got very little to work with right now. 0 armor to his name.
He's making it look like the heavy pickup never really existed. Ready for the super shotgun once more. Looking to be the star weapon for this matchup. But as now we have overhit that 5-minute warning. 11-4, make that 12-4.
Beautiful. psygib wanted to steal away the Mega. He had a pretty good idea of when that health was about to spawn, but the Hang just had the exact timing, and that LG, beautiful. Nothing more can be said about that. Mega not up for quite some time now. There's no major items happening, at least in a little bit, and psygib will get himself yet another frag. He's gonna need more than just that. 7 frags of a deficit right now. Every single time he manages to accomplish anything, the Hang is right there to knock him back down a little bit.
And it's all about positioning and stack beforehand too. And how rarely is dahang going to be outstacked in the situation, and even if he's not, he's able to score that first blood. And the dual wield is almost always ready. Speaking of which, here comes another potential fight about to break out here.
Yeah. Both players, they have their abilities almost at the ready. They're coming up at around the exact same time. Here we go, injections ready, dual wields ready, but no engagement just yet.
It's a matter of who's going to try and pop it first. psygib,
Oh.
he's in an awkward position where he really does need to make something happen, and he doesn't even have the opportunity to really use the injection in any way. The dual wield SSG in that corridor, you may as well just close your eyes and let it happen, because there's no way he was missing any pellets in a small corridor like that. Here comes the fight. And the flick! It has come down to almost entirely combat skill on this map so far.
Yeah.
And dahang, the BJ and the dual wield is the extended arm of that, but at the same time, dahang's accuracy without it is still sublime. Look at how much LG he's peppering out here. 15-5. This is one hell of a turnaround, Flea.
We're really not seeing either player establish solid control on this map. It just keeps changing all the time, but the Hang is doing most of the damage and he's getting most of the frags, and that's putting him solidly in the lead. Because even though he sometimes loses control or he loses a frag, he's right back at psygib's throat almost instantly. And psygib just unable to really deal with that. Here we go, he's got another opportunity, but decides to back away instead. At this moment though, with 2 minutes left and 11 frags to go, like, psygib can't afford to waste a second.
BJ just screaming in agony right here. Both players on the brink of death. psygib stops the bleeding with the Mega. But that Mega is a small victory, and so is that frag. 2 minutes to get 10 frags. Seems like an impossible task.
I mean, if it's possible on any map, it'll be this one, but it doesn't look like today's gonna be the day for such a comeback, as the Hang shuts that down instantly. Minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. psygib is determined to keep trying, but at this point, I really don't see it being possible anymore.
Dual wield is popped again. Even if it didn't secure a frag, I think it was immediately issued as a warning. But okay, psygib is able to get another frag on the board. Has to restack up though as he chases down, but he's got to look, how do I chase this guy? He's retreating down into a corridor. This is the worst place to try and take a fight if there's rockets coming out. So hard to dodge them. Thankfully for psygib, he's able to hit his mark again. But 1 minute for a lot of frags. And dahang trading it out. That's just going to benefit dahang at the end of the day.
He's gonna get the better spawn, even right onto the Mega, a rocket for his troubles as well, and then an LG to boot. He's got everything, and all psygib's got to work with is the super shotgun. Dahang can just keep his distance. He doesn't have to show his face anywhere near the barrel of that shotgun, and can just play the long game with that lightning gun. And at this point, there is no dot left. It is over and done. things will be tied up after this match, 1-1. Dahang showing that resilience that we were talking about, proving that he won't get tilted just by losing that one map, as he's ready and eager for more.
Returning the favor in dominant fashion. Looking to just get a few more bonus. Can he make it 20? That's going to be somewhat of an objective for him. Unlikely the spawns are too far away. Well, that's unfortunate. You know, Dahang was looking for the 20-9 maybe. But that is going to be the map win, and that's what really matters. It's going to be a 1-1 currently. And there is the opportunity now to see who's going to finally take it. It's going to come down to our final map pick. It's close. I mean, that map may not have been close, and it was extremely one-sided, but I'm excited by the fact that this is a 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just Dahang did the damage and kept in control of all the important items. Even though he frequently was out of control, it just, at the end, I think Dahang had almost 1.5k more damage than his opponent. We've seen maps where players do 1.5k damage each. So for that to be the difference between these two players after a 10-minute game, that just shows how dominant Dahang has been when it comes to just dashing out the damage with the super shotgun and with the lightning gun primarily.
The moment the sort of bulk of momentum began, it just seemed like psygib just didn't stand a chance when they had those up-close and personal fights.
Yeah.
You know, psygib was spending half of the fight trying to see if he can run away or if there's somewhere he can retreat to, and there's just no avenue for it. You know, the choice to go with the BJ as well was just an extension of that, where the dual wield comes out of what is already phenomenal accuracy that Dahang was already hitting with the LG in particular, and it's just a scary combination if you're going, you know, using Anarchy in the first place. And there's nowhere to run. You just get completely shredded. And so many of these replays are just remarkable use of the LG and then just comboing it into the SSG at the same time.
On the one hand, Corrupted Keep is a really good map for Anarchy in some ways, but on the other, the fact that Anarchy is so damn weak to that super shotgun always makes him a huge risk to play. And then when you go up against someone who cannot just use one shotgun, but in the blink of an eye whip out a second one to pelt you with, that's a huge risk, and clearly psygib felt that tonight.
The contrast between the two maps that we saw just now, though, was that psygib had a very dominant start to Veil of Nath.
Yeah.
However, it kind of seemed a little bit like Dahang kind of woke up a little bit halfway through and then started to make the comeback. Didn't have enough time, was playing from too far behind. But it felt like psygib had to kind of inch that one out. Yeah. Whereas on Corrupted Keep, it was completely dominant one-sided show. There is naturally the element that Corrupted Keep is quite a unique map in that respect, how complete washes can happen on Keep. It's just the nature of the map. It's really small. The champion variety can sometimes cater to that. We saw it earlier, you know, with Razy, for example.
Right.
But as we go into our third and final map, it feels a little bit like Dahang is just looking in a little bit better shape for the long game, but I don't know. We've still got that third map to go through. It's going to be Awoken.
Without further delay, we're about to jump into the final map, not just of this series, but of the entire broadcast. It's Dahang, it's psygib, 1-1. It all comes down to this one, the tiebreaker, the decider. And we're on psygib's point of view. He's playing as the Doomslayer. He's got the double jump, but Nyx, of course, with that wall jump, got a fair bit of mobility herself.
Quite a traditional matchup so far with the Nyx and the Doomslayer. They're both going to have very similar double jumps to each other in these situations. But so far, no one really able to score any damage that's significant. We can see psygib inching his way towards, likely to be a trade between Heavy and Mega. Is going to be correct, but more damage was dished out at the very beginning by psygib. But while he's caught swapping weapons and deciding what he wants to do, here comes Dahang, just full speed ahead and pressuring him. The aggressive Ghost Walk might actually be enough to get the frag too. Hits the rail, looking for the shot, and he misses it! Knocking him onto the jump pad was the best case scenario, and psygib takes full advantage.
I was kind of hoping to see that work just because of how few aggressive Ghost Walks we tend to see. Very often it's just to get away or to surprise your opponent, but this is just like from the other side of the map. You pull the Ghost Walk and then you just close the gap, and wow! Wish you could have seen that one from psygib's point of view, because those were some really nice rockets with both players flying through the air. As psygib puts himself one frag in the lead. There's very little delay between the Mega and the Heavy. So this might result in a split where each player only gets to walk away with one item. Oh yeah, I saw that the moment he shot that rocket and Dahang jumped right, I knew it. And Hang's gonna throw out an LOL at that one. I don't think he's actually laughing about any of that.
It looks likely as well. You know, psygib trying to put that kind of manual delay in between the two of them. He's confident right now that he's got a lot of stack to work with. Should, by all accounts, be able to get this frag on dahang again. And this delay that he's just forced between the Mega and the Heavy means that if he keeps his lead here, it's going to be very easy for him to run that cycle. Ghost Walk was used, so dahang forcing his way onto that. Watch out! dahang can't get the super shotgun again.
That really felt like he was gonna go to dahang with a final shot, but for some reason he almost choked. He didn't actually manage to get the shot off, and now psygib.
Oh, whoa. The rail from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
dahang is gonna fall again. psygib, his general combos have been beautiful so far. Pretty much everything has worked in the 2.5 minutes that we've been playing on this map.
And that's a big risk from dahang using the Ghost Walks a bit more aggressively, because then if your engagement doesn't work out, you've got nothing to work with, and you get caught out in these bad situations with essentially no escape route on a very squishy champion. And that way psygib manages to put himself 5 frags in the lead already. This is a remarkably quick awoken.
Only 3 minutes on the clock, but my words, a lot happened in a short space of time. psygib getting clipped by the rail, and now the Ghost Walk. dahang has an opportunity to set up his shot, and it's going to be a rocket at close range. Flying his way back into this map. There's still a potential to come back here. psygib taking so much damage, goes in for the rail, misses the shot. That would have been so pivotal to land. dahang has so much work left to do. Looks for the rail, misses the shot again. He has the right idea twice in a row, but the execution fails him.
I feel like psygib is catching on to how dahang wants to use the Ghost Walk though, because he was very clearly aware that dahang would probably be there right next to him on the Mega platform and didn't use it to get away or to reposition. So if dahang is gonna keep that up, there's a good chance that his opponent, that psygib, will find some good reads and maybe really punish that aggressive Ghost Walk use. That's something to keep in mind. Heavy up in just 1 second.
psygib has already slowed things down to the point of giving dahang no information, though.
Yeah.
He's not playing a hyper-defensive game, but he's certainly not making it easy for dahang to know where he is. He's not super interested in sitting around some of these pickups so far. Looks like he's not going to be challenging the Mega either. Content for dahang to take it, but dahang not content to take it until he has an opportunity to maybe get some shots first. Decided to can that plan. And now, still, you know, we're about 1.5 minutes in, and dahang was unable to really see psygib even once. So this runaway game is proving very successful so far. dahang unlikely to run into certain death. He's not a very impatient player, I suppose we'll say. But psygib, you know he's looking for that opportunity. He's nervous about the Ghost Walk. Speaking of which, the Ghost Walk was used, but dahang leaves himself right in front. No time for psygib to react, and this by all accounts should be a frag. It will be indeed, but dahang is railable.
Yeah,
he's got to fix that.
He took a decent amount of damage there in the end that he definitely did not want to take. Can he connect something? A decent amount once again coming out, but insufficient for either player to put a frag on the board. dahang still trailing by 3 frags. And Mega, can psygib actually pick it up this time? It looks like he will, and he will punish the hubris coming out of dahang to just stand there and try to rail him first. psygib says no, not happening, not today, as he takes down dahang and extends his lead.
psygib is in a great position now. You know, we have 4.5 minutes left of this map. A decent amount of frags in the lead. He's just been hitting some glorious shots at the same time. And I do fear a little bit like dahang's Ghost Walk. It's a seesaw effect so far. Either it's working or it's not. But he perfectly times the Mega. Can he use it to steal though? dahang has no armor, and that's so scary in this situation. psygib has 100 armor as opposed to dahang though, and that's something to be very worried about.
At the very least, dahang managed to deny the Mega to his opponent. So that can stop his opponent, can stop psygib from really running away and outstacking him massively. Especially because Doomslayer, by default, has a higher base stack than Nyx does, being a squishy light champion. So dahang has got to work extra hard to keep those stacks in comparable shape. But that's not gonna work when you're hitting or missing those kinds of shots, rather. Finally lands the rail, but here we go. Ghost Walk, he had to use it. He would have died if he hadn't popped it right there. And forced on the
Oh my
defensive,
word.
that's an excellent angle. Not something you see every day. Can psygib finish it?
Nah,
Actually
he's just
really low himself.
choosing to back up and deny anything that resembles an angle. The double jump used through the hole just to try and prevent the rail from coming out too. psygib is making life so difficult for dahang right now. 3 minutes on the clock, and if he keeps this up, he will, in fact, defeat dahang at last in the Quake Pro League, and this would be a massive result for him. Looking to get the deny. Light armor gets taken.
Not something you see very often, denying by using the tri-bolt. He didn't have the plasma or the nail gun, so obviously couldn't make do with that. But right now, less than 3 minutes to go, and at 4 frags of a deficit, dahang. This is really starting to look like a tricky situation.
And psygib, not only is he playing defensive, but he's actually still looking for those rail angles.
And he's hitting him.
Anything we can do to keep dahang as far behind as possible. Fishes for it then, looks for another shot. He's not satisfied, he wants a little bit more, while at the same time staying a little bit reserved. If we miss the shot and there's even a chance dahang is going to chase this, I am going to back up. And he's now looking to pepper down some rockets. Damage, damage, damage. dahang going to be forced to use his Ghost Walk in a minute, and the time is now. Unfortunately for him, it's to survive and not to secure any frags, which he desperately needs to do. psygib has a really fat stack to work with. And it doesn't even matter that he's missing these rails so far, because so is dahang. We're not really making a lot of progress here together. Right, the LG's come through. dahang's going to be very careful. He's pretty weak, but psygib looks for the angle with the double jump from range. The Doom Slayer only shot.
I feared that could have very well been the final nail in the coffin. dahang, if he cannot make something happen here, and indeed he does, but still, 1 minute and 30 seconds, 4 frags. Can he do this? Can anyone do this? Yeah, they gotta be lightning fast. He knows exactly where psygib is. Gonna go up, because he realizes he doesn't have another choice. No Ghost Walk. psygib is just running at him with the gauntlet.
And then the Berserk to be the super melee.
Yeah.
That almost went completely disastrous, and that could have been the turning point that could have lost an entire comeback. However, dahang, he is going to chase it down because he has to, but the LG is too delicious. 1 minute left on the clock, and psygib 6 frags in the lead. This looks like it absolutely is, at last, the moment psygib can get revenge against dahang and defeat him for another time.
Yep. Interesting match to say the least. psygib is just extending his lead continuously. 7 frags ahead already. And dahang, what can he do? What can he possibly do? With 30 seconds left on the clock, I don't even think it is a mathematical possibility anymore. psygib is going to be celebrating tonight, taking down dahang 2-1.
Yeah, knowing psygib and knowing how he's been really gunning for just a high placement leaderboard-wise for the Americas. You know, before the Quake Pro League, psygib was looking for just validation from his peers and just looking to cement himself as a serious threat in this part of the world. And he was so happy with the results he got at QuakeCon, and it was the start of a journey. Today, he's been able to defeat dahang again. A great result for him, and something that's absolutely going to make him a proud player, I think.
I like the final comment from psygib. GG's, dog. That's gonna do it for him as he takes this one home 2-1. Yeah, he's gonna feel happy with himself going into the holiday break. And dahang losing his first matchup in the online section of the second stage of the Quake Pro League. He might have to do some engineering, some drawing, and working on his tactics himself.
But ultimately, I just think it came down to psygib playing incredibly well.
Yeah.
dahang wasn't the only reason, but the Ghost Walk was very much a hit and miss. But you can see the reasoning behind why he chose to use it the way he did. It was just sometimes he was forced to use it when there was nothing else available and he was going to die otherwise. Sometimes he used it aggressively and it worked. Sometimes he would concede a frag for it. It's just the nature of a light champion using something that is often considered by the community. Like right there, sometimes it works absolute wonders, and I believe it worked here as well. It was just psygib's ability to refrag very quickly, which made life a lot harder.
Yeah.
dahang couldn't quite get that snowball effect, which is one of the the most common ways of getting a comeback on deck. psygib was just prepared and ready. Made it work out fresh off the spawn most of the time.
Yeah.
He just played exceptionally well today.
And I mean, in the end, it is always a bit of a gamble. When you're playing as such a light champion and you're going for the aggressive Ghost Walks, like you said, it's going to work out sometimes, other times it will just completely fail and backfire and you're going to respawn with nothing next to your name and you don't even have the Ghost Walk to evade it if your opponent is coming in for another frag. So it's such a risky playstyle that unfortunately this time around didn't quite pay off for dahang.
The nature of these weekly broadcasts is just the fact that we can see the growth in the players that are taking part. You know, psygib from the very beginning of Stage 1 always looked a little bit like he was having that slow start that we've talked about time and time again, and as we reached the end of Stage 1, he started to really come back into his element. Yeah. Stage 2, he's been kind of hit and miss, but when he looks good, he looks damn good. And here we are. You know, his arguably his biggest win in the weeklies at the very least so far, taken out dahang. Massive congratulations, and I'm sure he's feeling extremely good about it. We've got a few graphics to show you guys the journey that we've had today, schedules and leaderboards and all that stuff. We'll get into that as soon as possible. But as you can see, Toxic versus Cypher, that was to kick things off, and that was an exceptional matchup. Cypher taking that one. Nosfer conquering Genic 3-0. Dramis defeating Waz 2-1. Wenger versus Avik 2-1. Avik was able to secure a map of his own, and it was on Awoken. No easy feat.
Absolutely not, and I hope that Avik can at least build off of that a little bit after the break, because clearly he is one hell of a pro player who unfortunately right now is at the bottom of the EU scoreboard. But maybe this will help, because clearly if you look at the scores, it really wasn't that one-sided, right? 4-3, and then, yeah, he won 13-6 and then lost 13-9, but still, it was a pretty close game. Could have definitely gone either way.
It was pretty reminiscent of the day in general. Similar with Dramis and Waz, the exception being that Miracle Athena game that was just an absolute masterclass, really. But the maps before that, you know, 4-3, 2-3, when players are evenly matched and they go head-to-head, these close results can happen. You know, Tox versus Cypher, that was also a very close game. You know, it was 5-6, 6-5, and then it only started to escape Tox in the final map of Awoken. So, who knows how things can go on a weekly basis. Just to remind everyone, the buys were Chain, Dewey, Kilson, and Hron, so they did not play this week.
Yeah, and then moving on to the second half of today's broadcast, we started things off with Rafa versus Effortless. A very convincing 3-0 for Rafa to start things off, and look at the score: 17-6, 11-0, and 14-6. That really just shows Rafa near the start, still looking, you know, finding his way, but then once things got going, they got going quick, and there was nothing that Effortless could do about that. Base versus Cooler, I think probably the biggest upset of the day, a 3-0 for Base, not something many people were expecting.
Definitely not. And the manner of the maps, the only thing that went as expected was how the maps played out between the two players. They were very calculated, very slow paced.
That's the lowest scoreline out of any matchup that you see right now. 5-2, 5-4, 4-2. As we predicted, definitely much more subdued. And then we went on to watch CNZ versus Razy. Razy 3-0. Map 1 seemed to be pretty close, but after that, things just started going Razy's way. Fully, completely, and absolutely. And then, as you guys just had the pleasure of watching alongside of us, dahang versus psygib, another upset. psygib taking it 2-1 and repeating the stand-up that he did back at QuakeCon.
It's been a fantastic day of games, and I'm glad to see that we are at a situation now where the break is about to commence, right? You know, these players now have an opportunity to reflect on how the weeks have gone, but how they can prepare for the coming weeks. We have got the leaderboard to show you guys, so we can see where the points are standing now, especially after everything that's happened. Rafa ascending even further as he collects his 3-0 and his weekly amount of points that he's desperately looking for. Yeah. I'm sure there's a better term for that, but whatever. Razy, and having a good day today, has put him at number 2 currently.
And looking more towards the bottom, we can kind of see that gap that we had earlier between the top section of like the top 5 pros and then the rest has kind of widened, right? Because now the gap's a lot smaller, going all the way down to Nosfa, and then there's a bit of a leap towards Toxic. And then if we turn our eyes towards more or less the bottom of the scoreboard, it is CNZ and Avik that are tied for the relegation spots in EU, whereas for NA it is Waz and Genic.
Cypher's been on quite the climb And if he keeps playing the way he's been playing in these weeklies, there's opportunities for him to kind of just go back into that mid-level of the EU and CIS leaderboard and climb the ranks, and maybe he doesn't have to worry about relegation so much. Avec is going to be a bit concerned at this point, you know, because there's no getting around the fact that he didn't have an amazing Stage 1, and Stage 2 is still not looking perfect for him. CNZ, he is another one of those mixed bags I think we've seen so far, but we always have to remember that the players that CNZ is going up against are the very, very best in EU and CIS. It is not easy.
Yeah, I also hope that Kron can start turning things around. He had a bye week, so we didn't get to see him in action today. But still, 1 win, 3 losses in Stage 2 so far, as opposed to his very positive track record in Stage 1. He's not doing that well in comparison to some of the others down there at the bottom of the EU side either. So I really hope that our Ukrainian player can also make some changes after the break and come back in full force swinging.
Well, there's a lot of potential and time for that now, as we are just about to reach the end of this broadcast, I think, Flea. It's been quite a fun one. Thanks for sticking with us so far. I've got the last one of these.
One more?
I think you've destroyed me with this.
3-1 so far.
It is 3-1. Let's go again.
All right.
On 1, 3, 2.
There you go. There you go. You can feel good about yourself.
Finally, dude, I'm so happy. I never win these. I never do. It's just a part of the holiday. So we get an orange hat.
Beautiful.
Nice. A very, very indistinguishably small pack of playing cards, which magic poker cards.
Wow.
There's like 2 cards in there, so it's not even. And well, we're gonna end things with the final holiday joke of the day.
Oh boy.
What type of shoes does Santa wear when he travels on a train?
What kind?
Platforms.
And I think on that note, it's probably about time to call it quits. Guys, don't forget, Quake Champions free to play. If you're liking what you're seeing and are down to get playing with a very fast-paced arena FPS, free to play, as I said. We've got the challengers. If you think you can match and rival the pros that we've seen today, just go ahead and sign up. It's free for everyone. Why not try your hand at it? And maybe we'll see you back in the Quake Pro League at some later point of the year.
The challenges continue. So we find out who's going to be able to dethrone in the relegation matches for our Stage 2 finals, and the stories will continue. But for now, we're going to go for a festive break. We're going to be gone for a few weeks as far as I'm aware, just during the holiday season. If you don't celebrate Christmas, even if you don't celebrate it, whatever it may be, happy breaks. Thanks for sticking with us so far. Have a wonderful end to the year. See you in 2020. Our last thank you very much to id, Bethesda, all the people that work with us, the rest of you guys, Zoot, Jackie, ZSX, everyone that we're normally seeing around. It's all a great job around, and the hardworking people behind the scenes that make these broadcasts possible. It really isn't possible without your work. Thanks for joining us. Love you very much, and we'll see you in 2020.